Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trinity Music Department podcast. On today's episode, we have one of the pupils I was most looking forward to getting onto this. And we have Robbie McDerment from S3. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Pleased to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. I know you've been looking forward to coming on for a wee while. As soon as we sort of floated the idea about
As soon as the idea came up, I was like, get me on that podcast. Yep. I will talk about everything.
Excellent. And you're someone, for an S3 pupil in particular, who has such a great knowledge of music and is really into music as an art form and appreciates a wide range of styles. And you've managed to narrow it down to 3 of your favourite songs today, which I know is quite hard.
It is very difficult. I was having a hard time with it.
I can imagine by the time this gets published, you probably have thought of 3 different songs as well.
Ones, yeah.
But for just now, Robbie's going to talk through his current 3 favourite songs of all time.
Yeah.
And before we get started, is everything going okay at school though?
Everything's going fine. Just keep my head down, doing my work.
Good. Excellent. And I know we obviously study music in my class, but what else are you studying this year at school?
I study graphics, history, French and other stuff like that.
Fantastic,
Maths and English.
And
so you have to do them.
When we talk about history as well, it's funny you should mention that because that's going to come up in one of the artists that you are talking about today, because they're very historically themed band, and it's almost like that's what they base their music on, which we'll get to later on. But to start with, what's your first song going to be?
So my first song is going to be by Tyler Bryant and Shakedown, Ain't None Watered Down, from their Shake the Roots album.
Excellent. So that song came out just last year.
Yeah.
And Tyler Bryant is the frontman and the guitarist of the band.
Yeah, frontman, guitarist, not much older than yourself.
Yeah, and is he the songwriter as well?
I think he's the main songwriter, but the others do kind of pitch in.
So he'll come up with a lot of the ideas, then they'll bring it to the studio.
Yeah,
so this song is from their 5th album. So for a band so young, they've obviously released a lot of material.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot, yeah.
And initially, they started out as kind of quite a heavy rock, not a heavy band, but a rock-based band.
Yeah, more rock. They were southern rock, mostly, they had this guitar and everything. But for this album, they kind of just went straight back to the bluesy roots.
A bluesy roots, good. Yeah. This song was recorded, I think it was recorded in his home studio in Nashville.
Yeah, it was in his home studio.
So I think it was during COVID times when the studio's access wasn't available, and they decided to set up a studio in Tyler Bryant's house. And so it's all recorded from home, which I think is quite cool.
Yeah.
And Nashville is the home of sort of country music. So you can see
Nashville, Alabama, all that kind of stuff.
Do you remember the first time you encountered this song or this band?
The first time I heard the song was last year when the album came out, because my dad maybe listened to it. But the first time I heard the band, I think, was in 2018 when my dad first discovered the band, and he made me listen to it. So
it's very much an education. You need to go and listen to this.
Need to go and listen to this stuff.
And were you at home? Were you in the car? What were you doing at the time?
I think we were in the car. We were driving to Asda or something, and he just said, here's a new band I found out about. Puts them on.
And this is 2018 when you're in what, primary 6 or something?
I think I was in primary 6,
yeah. And you're sitting listening to
the slide guitar blues that I've never heard before, and I'm like, what is this?
Is that, when did you start playing the guitar? You must have been quite young.
I started playing the guitar, I think it was either 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So not long after this...
My dad was wanting me to play it quite a lot when I was younger, but I was just never really into it. And then I thought one day, I've got a guitar. Why not? I'll just try and play it. And then my dad was dead proud of me and everything.
Oh, good. Did you have a guitar in the house? Lots of access to instruments in the house?
I had access, yeah. I tried playing drums before it, but I never really got any progress. And then a couple of years ago, I just thought, I'll pick up my guitar, because I think it was in primary 6 where we were doing stuff on guitar. So I thought...
Did you have lessons in primary school?
I think what happened was, I think it was on a Friday, we would swap over with the primary 7 class, and we would go in and play guitar with my teacher, who was actually a backup guitar, or not a backup, a stand-in guitarist for the Proclaimers.
Really? That's a good claim to fame. What was he a primary teacher or
he was a primary teacher?
And he was also happened to play as a backup guitar
so
for the Proclaimers.
If one of them was sick, he would go in and play.
That's the Proclaimers of 500 Miles fame and Sunshine on Leith and I'm on my way as well.
Yeah,
that's a great fact. I love that. Yeah, brilliant. So, but we'll cut back onto your song before we go down a rabbit hole and end up waffling on. So this song, as we said, released in 2022, a massive departure from the original sound.
The original sound, yeah.
And the band was started by Tyler Bryant round about
2010-ish.
2010-ish, and when he was only about 15 years old, which I mean, he's about the same age as you.
Same age as me, practically.
And he was like looking to make a career in music, and I think he met local musicians in his hometown and sort of formed what became Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
Yeah.
And he would sort of tour around local venues, playing like kind of obviously very small venues at that point.
Yeah, he's never really been very mainstream, but he's still, you know, a good artist. He's more kind of undergroundy.
Yeah. Even though they've released these 5 albums, most people probably haven't heard of
No,
them.
but a lot of people won't have heard of them.
But they're very acclaimed by music critics and journalists and people like yourself who are really into music. Did you say your dad had seen them live as well?
Yes, he went to see Airborne just to see them because they were the opening act. He didn't really want to see Airborne, but he bought the ticket because it was very cheap. Yeah. So he went and seen them, and he was
in
quite
Glasgow at was it the Barrowlands?
I think it was the Barrowlands. Yeah, it might have been. Don't know where it might have been. I think it was the Barrowlands, but I'm not sure. Yeah,
and we were talking just off camera there about how like a gig like at the venue at the Barrowlands. You said the Liquid Rooms in Edinburgh, which is another small. Have you seen a band there before?
Yes, I went just last month. I went to see Cooler Shaker there. Would not recommend it.
Was it not that good?
It was a nice venue. But it was very cramped.
Oh, right.
Very cramped.
But the thing about those smaller venues, though, is the atmosphere is
it's
great.
It's definitely better because it's more smaller bands. So, you know, it's just the core fans now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like if you go and see Oasis and there's loads of people there, but like people know like 2 songs.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're talking about that as well because I know you're going to see Muse at Bellahouston Park.
Yeah.
So they're obviously an enormous rock band.
Oh yeah.
But I think they're similar in a way to maybe Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. They're very much people that like them for their music, and that's why.
I wouldn't really say that there's like people that go there that only know like a couple of songs.
Yeah.
I know that they had a song featuring in I think it was Twilight.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. Supermassive Black Hole.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they kind of got a bit more famous.
More mainstream.
But no, most people, because of the price of the tickets as well, you're not going to pay like £100 for a ticket to go and see 2 songs.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know.
I like the fact that a band like that don't have like the sort of following that, you know, you
following
sort of,
the trends, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Muse later because I know that's when we talk about some of the gigs you're going to see or you've seen already. But back to Tyler Bryant, so as we were saying, they released a lot of material, and their sound has moved about to maybe more a bluesy sound these days.
Yeah, they started out, you know, a bit more fuzz on the guitar and everything, but they've kind of just came straight to the acoustic blues and everything now.
Yeah, and when I was listening to the song, because the way it works in the podcast is Robbie will say to me like, "Here's my 3 songs," which changes all the time because it's quite hard to pick 3 songs.
It's difficult. I kept having to change one of them because I just couldn't decide.
And then I go away and have a listen to it and just see what we think about it. And the first thing I thought was it sounded to be like the Black Keys, I used to listen to in school all the time. They're like a similar American sort of band.
I find it interesting that I think it's just the guitarist and the drummer. There's no bassist.
That's
so
cool.
It's really interesting. It's like Royal Blood.
Royal Blood, yeah.
They're just.
I think it's bass and guitar, isn't it?
No, it's bass. But what he does is he runs his bass through something that lets it have the sound of a bass, and he puts fuzz on it so it sounds like a guitar as well.
Right. Is he got like a pedal set up?
Yeah, he's got. I don't think it's a pedal. I think it's like a modulator thing.
Yeah.
He plugs in his bass and it comes out with like a fuzzy sound.
So it sounds like the kind of like sound. 2 instruments are playing.
Yeah, it sounds like 2 instruments. It's really smart.
They're another great band.
They're really good.
For the drums as well, and like the guy that plays the drums in Royal Blood is just an unbelievable player.
He's really good, yeah.
Yeah, so it reminded me a bit of that type of music though. And yeah, it's cool how their sound has evolved as well, because a lot of the best bands will always evolve their sound with every album they release. Yeah. It's not often that you get a band that sticks exactly the same, you know, and they've definitely evolved as they've gone.
Like a band like Cannibal Corpse, they've released 15 studio albums, which I think is really impressive.
Yeah, even just to think of that many ideas.
15 albums. I mean, they've been going since like the 90s. But they've swapped vocalists.
Yeah.
In their first couple of albums, you can barely hear the lyrics because of the first singer's vocals. Like it's just mumbling.
Is that the style of it?
That's the kind of it's death metal, and they're like the most popular death metal band. Like
I have heard of them.
But then I think it was by their 5th album they got a new vocalist, Corpse Grinder. His name is lovely name.
Take it that's his stage name.
That's his stage name. His name's George Fisher, but it's George Corpse Grinder Fisher, and he you know you can hear his vocals a bit more. He's a bit more higher pitched, and you can hear him singing. One of my favourite songs by them, Scourge of Iron. You can really hear him singing, and it's just really guttural and everything. It's just absolutely amazing.
And then is that swapped to a different singer now?
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah.
So he's just been with them since I think like the 2000s now.
Yeah.
But their original singer, Chris Barnes, he doesn't look like he would have, a very
Like
growly
really
voice.
raspy voice, yeah.
But when you listen to their songs, it is very growly. You can barely hear. If you look at the lyrics and you listen, you can kind of tell what they're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're just listening, you're like, what is this?
This band, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, they have supported a lot of famous rock bands though.
Yeah, definitely.
They've toured with ZZ Top, Aerosmith, AC/DC, who are very mainstream, Guns N' Roses. And they also play at festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
unlikely to see them at like a Transmit or Glastonbury, but more like a rock-based festival. So they're a type of band that you might get touring soon if they've released a new material, and definitely worth having a listen to. And they're a kind of band that are not like. A lot of time people say, "Oh, I like rock music." People think, "Oh, it's really aggressive," but they're not like
people mix up rock and metal a lot.
They do, yeah. It's very much a misconception.
I think I was in S1 and I was saying to Mr. Merrick, "Can we when we're learning about like rock music and stuff?" And people were going, "Oh, that's just screaming and loud guitars and everything." I was like, "You're getting mixed up. That's metal music."
It's a different genre completely.
It's different, and not even as if it's just rock and then metal. There's subgenres. There's
so many
rock.
subgenres.
There's like southern rock. There's hard rock. There's speed rock. There's all stuff like this.
We do a topic, and you might remember. Do you remember this from last year? In a second year, when you do like the decades topic, we got the 1960s,
I do remember.
And then
that.
in the 80s, it's like
the 80s is very kind of punk and just like hard rock and stuff.
That must have been. You must have enjoyed that, though, looking at all these different styles of music. Yeah. First song, "Ain't No Water Down" by Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Go and have a listen to it. It's a great song.
It's really good.
People that have never listened to anything, it's not even alternative. I wouldn't say.
I wouldn't say it's alternative. It's very.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's bluesy either. It's not like Rory Gallagher blues.
Yeah.
But it's more like southern. So if you like.
Yeah.
If you like Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, I was going to say Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah.
It's very Sweet Home Alabama. But more slide guitar.
It's a listenable song, and that takes us on neatly to your second song. So we've got them here in the notes. We've got "Rope" by Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
So this is released in 2011, I
on
believe.
their Wasting Light album.
Wasting Light album. You'd be good on them. Have you ever seen Mastermind before?
Yes,
TV show. Yeah, where they've got like a specialist subject.
Oh yeah,
I'd be like
getting on music.
Yes, like alternative music. It's not even again. I'm trying to think what
I wouldn't say it's alternative. I'd say it's more kind of just like not regular rock.
Anything involving guitar and musical knowledge. You'd be one of the best candidates on that show.
I think so. Yeah.
Or Pointless, where you've got to get an obscure answer.
Oh,
to
go
like
on Pointless.
Right. Okay.
Who was Pat Smear's first dog? I don't know that, but
so do you remember the first time you heard this song, "Rope" by Foo Fighters?
First time I heard this was probably when I was a baby, because my mum and dad, they've been listening to Foo Fighters since they started.
Is that their favourite band? Would you say?
I wouldn't. No, definitely not their favourite band. Definitely, up there, but not their favourite. But like definitely at the time in like 2008 when I was born, they were definitely Foo Fighters were. Oh no, I wouldn't have heard that when I was born. What am I talking about?
But you'd have heard other Foo
Fighters. I'd have heard like like your Everlong and everything.
Yeah. So this came out when you were 3 then. So you still obviously would have been extremely young.
Yeah.
I think by this time they had they had about 5 or 6 albums.
They had quite a lot of studio albums. I think I wouldn't say they're an underrated band, but their first album is really good. That has some good numbers on it. Stuff like "For All the Cows" and I think it's "I'll Stay." It's a really good song.
I think their songwriting is underrated.
Yeah,
I think they don't. I think people think, oh, it's just 4-chord rock music,
yeah,
but it's really not.
But the lyrics, I wouldn't say they tell a story, but they're definitely,
Yeah, they're quite.
They have something about
lyrics, and obviously they're a band kind of marred by a lot of tragedy in many ways.
Yeah, so with the loss of Taylor Hawkins last year, and the big tribute concert, which I think they should have held up here.
I was just going to talk about that actually, because Foo Fighters were loved in Scotland.
Oh yeah,
they really were. So I think they had the tribute concert in Wembley, and
I think they should have had that up here. It would have been much, because I was watching it on the live stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there was just everybody was just standing there, just
there wasn't much.
Wasn't much action.
I know
really.
It was obviously quite sad.
It was a sad time, but you had Supergrass and everything. That's another one of my favourite bands.
Oh, really? But
Supergrass,
90s? Yeah. More kind of like a sort of.
They're
British,
more. They're kind of post Britpop.
Yeah, that's what you say, post Britpop. That's the one.
Like they're kind of like Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Just a bit more heavier.
Yeah, so Foo Fighters, obviously they lost the drummer Taylor Hawkins last year. I was actually at Sam Fender. Do you like Sam Fender?
Not particularly. I've not really heard them, but I don't think I particularly like them.
I was at a gig of his at he was played the Hydro last year, and it was the day after Taylor Hawkins died.
Right.
So he played his set and everything, and it was great. And then just when everybody's leaving the arena and they play music for the speakers, they put on My Hero by Foo Fighters.
Oh, did they?
And everyone was singing along to it.
I think it was brilliant that they got Shane Hawkins out to play that on the drums.
Is that his son?
Yeah, Shane Hawkins is his son. They had him out. They had Roger Taylor. They had Roger
Queen
Taylor's
drummer.
son.
Yeah.
So I think it was a brilliant concert, but they should have held it up.
Should have held it in Glasgow.
They would have had better reception up here.
I think they might. I'm sure they've sort of said they're going to keep going as a band.
They said they will keep going, but they're not sure who they said they're going to have their drummer as.
It'd be nice if it was their son. I take it. Is he a good drummer? Or,
he's quite good. I think he was taught by his dad, but I don't think they tour with him now because he's only 16, I think.
Oh, is he really?
So he's quite young, but I think when he grows up, they'll probably tour with him.
Yeah, or Dave Grohl on the drums.
But he's the vocalist.
So he's the voice, isn't he?
He's the voice of the band.
A seamless link back to Nirvana there. So this is quite well known in music, but Dave Grohl used to be the drummer in Nirvana. And then Nirvana ended at the death of Kurt Cobain, which was at the time still is an absolute tragedy. And they'd released the album Nevermind, which is probably the most famous grunge album of all time. The most famous
grunge album, It has some good. It has some, the famous ones like "Smells Like Teen Spirit," "Come As You Are."
Yeah.
"Something in the Way" now has come up really popular.
Yeah.
But they had some really good ones on that, like I think "Breed" and "Stay Away" and stuff like that. They are really good tracks that are really underrated.
Yeah. All of which Dave Grohl played the drums on.
Oh yeah,
and
then he's an excellent drummer.
After Nirvana end, he then starts the solo project. Initially, I think it's just him playing all the instruments, and then he wrote in other people to play.
I think he brought in Nate and I think it was Patsy and another drummer,
like the bass player.
Nate was the bass player or is the bass player, not was. And Patsy's the guitarist. Patsy was also part of Nirvana before they ended.
Oh, right, I didn't know that. It's like what did he play in Nirvana?
He played guitar. He was secondary guitar.
Oh, like just behind Cobain,
he was originally part of the band Germs.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing, I think it was Dave Grohl in an interview, and I think it was Kurt was looking for a secondary guitarist.
Yeah.
And he came back to Dave and Chris, and he was like, Pat Smear, he's going to play the guitar for us.
Yeah.
And they were like, Pat Smear for the Germs? I thought he was dead.
Really?
And then he's like, I think he's an old guy. He's in like his 50s now.
Yeah.
But so I think it started out with Dave, Pat, Nate, and then another drummer who they got rid of after the first album.
Yeah.
Then I think they had Taylor Hawkins on for the Shape and the Colour.
Late 90s, yeah.
Late 90s, yeah. And then Pat Smear left for a small period of time, and they got Chris Shiflett in.
Oh, right, okay.
He does his own kind of solo stuff. It's like Americana music.
Yeah.
He's actually coming. I think it's in March.
What, as a solo artist?
As a solo act, yeah.
Is he touring around the UK?
Yeah, he's coming here. My mum and dad are going to see him. I don't really fancy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got him on, and then Patsy joined back to the band, and now they're where they are.
Is that the same lineup now?
So that's the lineup, but now they've not got Taylor. So
yeah. Well, this song came out in 2011, so I believe it was recorded in Dave Grohl's garage.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they'd obviously had a lot of success by that point. 6
albums
they
were very successful.
Plenty of money to work in the best studios in the world, but they decided to go back to the roots and recorded it all like live with analog stuff.
All live, yeah. They've actually got a thing up on YouTube of I don't think it was when they recorded it, but they have a full thing on YouTube.
Like the making of?
An hour long. It's not the making of. They just did the full album, just song after song, going through it. It's really good.
Like a live show.
They just sit and do it. It was really good. I sat and watched it one night, and it was amazing. The drumming and everything, it was brilliant. I recommend going and watching it if you like the Foo Fighters.
Speaking of drumming, actually, I really like the drumming in this song. It's quite unusual. It's quite very hard to like.
I've tried to learn it on drums.
Yeah.
The rhythm with the intro, or not the intro beat, the kind of main beat.
Yeah.
It's like offbeat and stuff.
It's quite like it doesn't flow as you would expect a standard kind of 4 beats in the bar drum
and then
song.
There's a really good drum solo like near the end.
There is. I wrote that down in my notes to talk about the drum and the guitar kind of interplay is so cool towards the end of it.
Taylor, he plays the drums. Then I think it's Dave and Chris play on the guitar, and then he goes and does something on the drums, and they keep alternating.
It's like a sort of back and forth, isn't it? Yeah.
They actually bringing up Back and Forth. They actually have another song off of that album called Back and Forth.
Do they?
It was a very good song.
What an unbelievable coincidence that was.
Coincidence.
I did not plan that at all. One thing I really like about Dave Grohl, who's the frontman of Nirvana, is that he not Nirvana, sorry, of Foo Fighters, is that he's never had I don't think he's ever had a music lesson before in his life.
I think he had one music lesson from a jazz drummer. I can't remember what jazz drummer. He's got a book out, and I've been listening to the audiobook, and he said he got a lesson off of a jazz drummer. One lesson, and then he just never had one again.
Yeah, and he learned, I think he plays the guitar the similar way he plays the drums. You know, when you play the drums, you've got the kick and the snare, and I think he sort of takes the bass notes of a guitar as like a kick drum. Yeah. And that's how he's approached to guitar. So it's very, it's very unique way of writing.
It's a unique playing technique, and I think it's very good.
Yeah, and I love the Foo Fighters sound, which is like a mix of kind of punky rock, but with more melodic as well. Yeah,
they have like quite a few like melodic solos. Try to think, like in Everlong, they have a harmonized solo.
Can you play that on the guitar?
I can play that on the guitar.
That's one of the great songs on the guitar. It's good fun.
It took me a while to learn it, but I got there in the end.
I'm sure it's in a funny tuning or something like that. It's in
drop D.
Yes, you have to tune the string down, and then
you just have to tune the D string, and that's it.
And then you play the bass note on it.
Yeah.
One of my favourite songs of all time actually is an acoustic version. Have you had the acoustic version of Everlong? I think it makes because Dave Grohl's always like a sort of people think he just shouts, but he's got a beautiful voice.
He's got a really nice voice,
and his acoustic version of that actually sounds so nice.
You get his proper voice instead of the
and you appreciate the guitar a bit more. I always like that when bands release like acoustic versions of tracks. Yeah, loads of good bands do that as well. Like Cortiners have done that as well recently. Of
like a Nirvana song also off of Nevermind that I really like because it's just purely acoustic. I think there's a wee tiny bit of drums and bass in there. It's Polly.
Oh that's
a very good song.
Mm-hmm.
Just purely acoustic. It's just very good. It's class.
Sometimes you don't appreciate how good a song is until you strip it back to the basic bones of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you can tell if a song is a really good song. Like if you could play it with an acoustic guitar, then it would sound nice. Then it must be a great song.
Be good. Because I think on their Incesticide album, they released a kind of faster, with the electric guitar and stuff. They released that and they did it dead fast and everything. It still sounds as great as the original, but it's just a bit more faster and it's a bit more grungy. But it's still a good song.
Good song. So many good songs that you could talk about. And it's one of those ones where you pick 3 songs here, but you end up thinking of other great songs as you go.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about 20 other songs.
And with that, we'll move it on to the last one that you've selected. Now, this one is incredibly different. So do you want to tell people what this one's called?
So this is Vimy Ridge in memory of Filip Konowal by 1914.
In 1914, I believe they're like a Ukrainian.
They are from Ukraine, yes.
What genre of metal would you say this is?
Doom metal. If you listen to the song, the way the guitar's played, it's all in power chords and it's played very slowly at the start. It's the way that he kind of builds. I can't remember the guitarist's name, but he builds it up through the song. He builds up the speeds. So it's a really good song. But
yeah. It's crazy, like that. Just like listening to that for the first time, it blew me away. I didn't know what to expect because you didn't give me any advanced warning of what this was like.
I just kind of said that's the song.
This is my song. I think I was sitting doing the dishes, just like having a listen to the song,
just on a playlist,
scrubbing the plate down with the soapy water, and I was like, "What? This is mad." Yeah. So it's like, I suppose a lot of metal bands. Maybe I don't even know if you're more an expert in this than me, but say someone like Motorhead or an Iron Maiden.
Motorhead,
are they like a sort of standard metal band?
They are very standard. They're, the basic, the roots of metal.
Yeah, mainstream band.
Metal, yeah.
And then metal has several subgenres that evolve off.
Oh, yeah, like about 30 different subgenres, like quite a lot of them. This specific one's doom metal. I think with them as well, they have a mix of death metal in there as well, but not as much.
Yeah, and 1914, the band are quite. We talked about this just in the intro. They're very a unique band. Can you explain to people watching what's quite unique about these guys?
So they're very unique because all of their songs, every single one that they've released, is based on the First World War. That's why the band entails the name 1914.
Yeah.
So this song is about the Battle of Vimy Ridge in Belgium by, I think it's again Canada versus
I think
Ukraine.
You're right. Yeah, I think you are right, actually. Yeah. And Filip, how do you say his name?
Filip Konowal.
And he was a Ukrainian soldier, I believe.
He's highly decorated.
Yeah, and he got the Victoria Cross, which is I think it's the highest honour you can get in the military. And because the band are Ukrainian, they wrote it in memory of him.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this song? This band?
This band was introduced to me by my friend Shadow.
So he just said, you need to check these guys out.
Because me and him were very into history and metal music.
Yeah.
So he stumbled across them one day and he was just like, you need to listen to these guys, they're like absolutely class.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll give them a listen. And then he said, listen to this song when the vocals come in. It's just absolutely brilliant, and I did. And I was listening to the intro, and I was like, okay, it's a bit slow. And then the vocals come in, it's the high pitched vocals. And at least with this, instead of like Cannibal Corpse, you can hear what they're saying.
Yeah,
but very slightly.
They sing in English, don't they? Even
they
though
sing
it's
in English,
the Ukrainian yet.
I think they have a couple of songs where they sing in Ukrainian, but most of them are sung in
English.
Also, what's interesting about their albums is they have on their first track and their last track on it are called War In and War Out.
Yes, I was going to talk about that, yeah.
On one of their ones called Eschatology of War, the War In one is, so it starts as an old record of It's a Long Way to Tipperary, and then as it goes on you can hear gunfire and people screaming and all this, and then you go into the first song, which is like is really heavy.
Brilliant.
And it's just really good.
A lot of their tracks have like samples from
war, samples from war,
like in the background as you're listening to the song.
So with Vimy Ridge, when it starts, you can hear, I think it's like a corporal or something blowing a whistle. You can hear men screaming,
just like sort of natural
you can hear
war
like,
noise.
You can hear like people trudging through the mud and everything. It's really well done, and the way it just kind of goes straight into the music.
It's so cool.
Really good.
I love the uniqueness of a band like that. It's just so
they're very unique.
It's amazing, like how you get to the point where you write music about like your
your
entire band is based on writing songs about World War One.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say they're a unique band. There's definitely a lot of bands out there that do write
like
about
a concept band.
Almost, they're kind of like a concept band. But I think they're one of the most famous for it because there's another band that I like called Cannon Fiber. They're a German band. And they're all about like the war and everything, but they sing about it and everything. And they're a really good band.
Excellent band. So 3 of the songs you've chosen, we've got Ain't None Watered Down, we've got Rope, and we've got Vimy Ridge in memory of Filip Konowal. Yes. So we'll link them in the description, and they're ones that, like, I'm sure you're a very popular young man in this school. Loads of people will go and listen to your music.
Hopefully.
They will be blown away by a lot of that. Well, before we finish off, right, we're just going to get a couple other things to chat about here. Yeah. So you're excellent at music. Loads of people know that. Have you got any kind of ambitions music-wise in the future that you want to do?
I'm hoping, if I'm able to convince my friends to do it, I'm hoping to start a band outside of school. And what my dad said to me to do is, mess about with a band, see if it works. Yeah. But still go to, uni, do your degrees and everything, just so you have a something to fall back on. But yeah, if I'm wanting to do like band and everything.
I think that's a good way to do it. So knuckle down in school, obviously.
Yeah, obviously,
good qualifications, and then
I always do my homework, I always do my studying, but then I always make time to play guitar at night.
Would you play the drums or guitar?
I think I'd most likely play guitar because out of my friends, I'm definitely the best at
and the most modest as well.
Not tooting my own horn here, but I'm definitely the best at it because none of the rest of them know how to play it. So
is this all people that are out a different school?
Outside of school, No, nobody knows them. Hopefully.
So one day we could end up seeing you.
One day you could see me famous.
Playing some variation of metal, like a new genre that you've created.
I probably won't be playing metal. Maybe some alternative some rock music.
And before we finish off, have you got any other gigs lined up to go and see this year?
I have quite a few gigs lined up this year. So in April, I'm going to see Cannibal Corpse. At the Glasgow Barrowlands.
Good.
Then I'm going to see Muse at Billahousen Park.
Yeah, talked about that already. That'll be amazing. Their live show is. I've seen a video of it on YouTube. Like they do so much for the lights.
My mum and dad went to see them a couple of years ago, and they said they were absolutely brilliant. And I was like, be quiet. I've not seen them.
They're amazing musicians as well. So good.
Another band that's really good in concert, I saw them last year, was Green Day.
Oh yeah.
They're
a really popular band in this school from loads of people as well.
Definitely.
They're the type of band that everybody loves. Green Day.
Everybody has a soft spot for
Green Day,
they're
like, I don't know what it is about them. Like, I don't particularly like pop punk music, but I like Green Day.
Their sound is just so, it's like Eddie Van Halen. His playing technique is his own. Nobody can replicate it. It's kind of the way, I wouldn't say that you couldn't replicate Billy Joe Armstrong's guitar playing. You could. But it's just the way that they play.
He's got a really unique voice as well.
Oh yeah,
nice songwriter as well. Lovely melodies.
He's got kind of a kind of nasally voice.
Yeah, he's got a nasally voice. Yeah,
it's the way he sings. It's just amazing.
Where did you see them? Was that Bella Houston?
That was Bella Houston. Yeah. They had Weezer and I think it was Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. Was that a COVID postponed gig?
That was COVID postponed. Yeah, and I was meant to go and see Guns N' Roses last year. But Axl Rose had damaged his voice the day before.
Oh,
so
no.
we then got to go and see them.
As well?
So that's been postponed.
Have you still got a ticket to
we've still got a ticket. I think they might be coming this year because they're going down to England. So I might have them this year as well.
Excellent.
I also have Arctic Monkeys, which I know a lot of people in this school will be jealous. I got tickets. I'm going to see Arctic Monkeys. I don't know where that is.
Park as well. I think that's in round about June time.
Yeah, I actually have 3 concerts in the one weekend, and I'm not excited.
What, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
So I think it's Friday, Sunday, and then Monday.
And Monday night. Yeah.
So on the Friday it's Muse, on the Sunday Arctic Monkeys, and then on the Monday it's Iron Maiden.
Wow,
the Hydro.
What a hat trick that is.
So I'm very happy that I've got seats for that instead of standing. Because I would not be happy standing.
No, it'd be quite a lot of cramped shoving about in the mosh pit. Well, Robbie, we better end things there because we could end up talking all day.
Oh, we could.
I honestly think you should write a book or something about your
I'll write a book.
Encyclopedia knowledge of music.
Once I get famous, I'll get that book written.
When you get famous, not once. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, Robbie. Thank you for watching at home.
Thanks for watching,
and
guys.
we'll see you again next time the podcast is on. Thank you, Robbie.